Hello bunnies, today I'll just be commenting on a match I had facing the ghost face, where I kind of gave him a concussion by the end of the match. It was quite a long chase, so it will just be me giving you input on what I did and why I did some things, and also some mistakes I made to help you prevent them. Now, no, I'm not a Starva or anyone of such importance. However, I have almost 2,000 hours. I know some people have tens of thousands and participate in tournaments, but I think I have a more simplistic way of viewing Dead by Daylight, which can help you improve on your looping skills without going too much into details to the point it gets overwhelming. So if you're curious about some looping tips here and there, please follow along and don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll do more of these if it interests you. Now the chase starts inside of Shack, which was a very good starting point for me. I see him coming from the outside, so I stun him. Now preferably you would like to stun him on the inside so you can go outside, but the layout of this Shack pallet made me force him to go on the outside. The first tip I have to give is always lock the killer on the opposite side and hold W. I think a lot of people hold a lot of importance on the actual looping itself, but part of the looping skill is knowing when to hold W and make distance. Also, something important is you don't need to use every single pallet and make a stop. Oftentimes you want to leave pallets in between so you can make a comeback to it if you end up in this side of a map. You're going to try and loop around the whole map, and if you end up near Shack, for instance, again, you'll have this pallet remaining which you have not wasted and which you can link with the Shack window. Now this pallet, for instance, it is very unsafe. You do not really want to stop here unless you need to, because the side you're going to be looping on is going to be the right side. It forces you because this part is blocked. So if you have a distance, which I did in this case, you're just going to hold W. Once again, when we enter the shop, we have two pallets, one to the left, one to the right, both still very unsafe. While you can still see the ghostie, if he crouches, you won't have a lot of visibility. So once again, if you have distance, which I did have, you just keep running. Now here I was forced to complete a chase at the unsafe pallet, and this is just a 50-50. Basically you're just trying to read his movement and stun him at a good timing, which can get messed up by the ping, of course, but if you calculate it well, which comes with time, with trial and error, you should be able to pull up the stun. Now, this is the safest kind of loop you are able to get in Dead by Daylight. Something important to notice is you have the truck, which is the long side of a loop, and you have the barrels, which is the short side of a loop. You will try and avoid the short side of a loop at all costs. Now here I ended up on the wrong side of a loop, which is what I advise you not to do, but if you're on the short side of a loop, do not get lost. There's still a way you can still continue chase without getting injured or downed. Now here what I did is basically mind game, which is my next tip. You try and confuse the killer on which side you're going to go to. Now this also depends on the skill of the killer. The killer may have lower skill. If you're more of a beginner, it's much easier to mind game. If the killer is good, sometimes you end up mind gaming yourself. So it all depends. That's why I advise to loop on the long side, especially against good killers. Now I was rather lucky here. I was just messing around. I did not play it very well here. However, the killer was on the lower skill. He wasn't looking much around him, just straight ahead, and since killers have first-person field of view only, you can use this to your advantage. You can use trees around you, you can use walls, and here I used the gen to break line of sight with him, which worked. Now here I was kind of forced to use the pallet I left beforehand, and I didn't. I got greedy, so I tried running off to the next best thing. Now here once again you notice the longer side of a loop, which is the fruit baskets, and the short side, which is the clothing racks. So I used the fruit baskets loop. Once I get the stun on him, I continue running and here's where I did a big oopsie because I didn't know to go shag. I have previously chopped the pallet. I tried reaching a new loop, but I knew it was over, so I took the down. Now, I think in this situation I could have lasted a bit longer if I took the shag window. However, eventually, depending on the killer and the loopings, I would have still ended up down unless I had a teammate to take a hit for me. Tell me in the comments if you think I could have escaped that down.